welcome to another episode of From My Mother's Basement, the show that basically celebrates being a geek. I'm Jason.
And I am Michael. And I will learn how to type shortly.
Having problems typing, are we?
Well, no, someone mentioned in the chat room that the link that got sent out didn't work, so I'm posting a corrected version.
Most likely, I have found out recently because I use Hootsuite to actually send out posts to all the social media pages because I control like 7. Because doing them individually would just be completely inefficient. But the problem is the URL shortener that Hootsuite uses apparently has recently been found by Facebook to sometimes be considered as a Trojan or malware. So it's like, well, crap, there goes that idea.
Yeah, and I only really post it on Facebook. I don't really post it on my Twitter, although I've been trying to use my Twitter a little more. But...
Yeah, I've seen that. I mean, what's funny is that I have several Facebook pages for the show and whatnot. That I have several Twitter pages. I also, surprisingly, and people actually follow on there, we have a Google Plus page.
Oh crap, that we do, don't we?
Yes, we do. So I post on there every once in a while. And whatever other network out there are, I'm sure eventually we'll get to like to 10 or 15 different social networks.
That's the hope. I mean, it's all growing. It's growing slowly, but it is growing. I mean, it took Laporte how many years to get to where he is today?
This is true.
He
went from streaming in a small room to having a custom-built $1 million studio. So in a course of what, 6-7 years, 10 years,
something like that. If we keep going, we'll get there.
Oh yeah, eventually. Besides,
slow.
Technology is awesome. It allows us to do a lot of stuff. We couldn't do this like 10 years ago easily. Let's leave it at that. So, Michael, how you been? What have you been up to?
I've been doing okay. I've been working on a couple things. We've been working on the Random Acts of Gaming project. Jason and I both have Twitch TV streams, and we were talking about it, and we were putzing around, and slowly the ideas congealed into a streaming video game, us playing video games thing, because that seems to be a lot of people do that. But we did a test run Friday, and it seemed to go pretty well.
And
how do you want to explain it, Jason?
What about Random Acts of Gaming? That's essentially all it is. Is that
it's Random Acts of Gaming?
Yeah, we've had a ton of people.
Maybe on yours too.
Yeah, maybe yes. We have numerous people contact us in numerous different ways, saying, "Hey, are you guys streaming anything? Are you guys going to play anything?" For the longest time, that was limited because the program we were using, Wirecast, it's not. Let me rephrase that. It's great for shows like this, for podcasts and whatnot.
Right. But if you're streaming a game, it's crap.
Oh yeah, it's a massive CPU hog.
Yeah.
Then Michael came across a program. What's it called?
Open Broadcast.
Open Broadcast Software, OBS, and does an amazing job and takes like 1/10 of the processing power. It's not as advanced enough to use for
anything, but
for this, but for gaming, just fine.
And it's freaking rock solid stable. I mean, I've only had one problem with it in all the experiments I've done, and that was directly traceable to user error. So
it was a pebcac, huh?
No, it was a pebcac, but it was an easily fixed pebcac.
Okay.
But and it works really well. So that's something we're working on. For those of you who came and watched Friday, thank you very much. It was great to have you there, even though I didn't get to see you. Jason did. We will
just
be
because you were watching the wrong chat, which is my bad for not telling you.
I'll smack you around later. But we will be doing more in the future. It will not be while we raid every Friday. We're not going to be streaming every Friday.
Yeah.
For a couple of reasons. So we may do another one in another couple of weeks. So maybe Friday after next. But in the meantime, we'll do randoms on both. So, Jason, your stream... We should probably make lower thirds for this later. What's your Twitch stream ID?
It's just OtakuLife Net. It's the same as Facebook and Twitter, so...
Okay, so Jason's is OtakuLife Net. Mine is twitch.tv/digital_panther. I run everything from WoW to SWOTOR to MechWarrior Online, Mass Effect.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be throwing up all sorts of weird shit As fast as I can get Jason to make me templates, because his Photoshop foo is beyond mine.
As for me, I'll still stream some MMO stuff and whatnot. I'll probably stick to, I'll probably play Mass Effect 3. Maybe I have Assassin's Creed 3 for PC. I haven't played it yet, so I need to do that.
Yeah, and if either of us are playing those games, warning, spoiler city.
As Michael found out.
And Tuchanka is Dune.
But what I might start doing, because I had some people request it, is actually just boot up MAME and throw up some old school fighting games.
That would be awesome.
Because playing 2D fighting games, which I absolutely love, like Guilty Gear, BlazBlue, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You give me a controller, I'm okay. You give me an arcade stick, I'm not all that good. You give me a keyboard, and I freaking own. It's the oddest thing.
Yeah, well, it's because we're used to, it's like I can play first-person shooters like a mofo on keyboard and mouse. Mm-hmm. But you put me on a console, anything other than Halo, which is why I can play Halo, I don't know, but any of the others I can't. I suck. I suck horribly. So, yeah. Although, I forgot, speaking of MAME and stuff, something that we did yesterday that I'll tell you about in a minute. So, let's finish this topic first.
No, okay, that was basically all I had to say. So,
okay.
It's going to be
eventually...
Yeah. Some cool stuff coming up. We have other stuff we're working on. So, as I stated in a recent post, this is just the beginning, so stay tuned. Because this is our 40th episode of From My Mother's Basement, so...
Yeah, we've been at this for a little while. It's still fun, though.
And people are still watching. It's crazy.
I meant to do this and get you pictures, and I'm sorry I haven't gotten you pictures yet. They're still on the camera here.
Dope.
Nikki and I yesterday went to an exhibit at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library. And no, we didn't go there to check out Ronnie, although Air Force One, that Air Force One was pretty impressive to walk on, and the way they've mounted it is really cool, actually. But Disney was doing an exhibit there, Treasures of the Disney Archives.
We're going right into our check Disney for the week.
Yes, right. Check Disney for the week. But this is the good side of what Disney did this week. Then we'll get to the bad side of what Disney did this week. But they're doing an exhibit, and I think it goes away in like a week or two. So if you're in the SoCal area, look up the Ronald Reagan Library. They're doing, like I said, Treasures of the Disney Archives. They had all sorts of cool stuff. They had original costumes from Mary Poppins, original costumes from the movie Enchanted, from Pirates of the Caribbean. They had the race car from Iron Man 2. They had, and one of the suits of armor. Yes, we're sponsored by Disney. They had, oh God, what else did they have? They had the original shooting model of the Nautilus from 20,000 Leagues.
Oh, wow. That's kind of crazy.
Sucker's like 5 feet long. It's all brass. It's not plastic. They actually took the time to brass solder this thing. It's gorgeous.
That is nice.
They had costumes and props from Babes in Toyland. They had maquettes from the animation studio. They had, at one point, the reference sculptures for the Hall of Presidents, from Washington to Obama.
Wow.
All of them.
That's pretty crazy.
They had the head from the dragon in Fantasmic, the one that went away. They've got that there. They've got the shooting models from Pirates. They have the original Tron costumes, which is the part I thought you would like to know about, Jason.
The old school white ones, but they just use a Sharpie pen on them.
the originals, yeah, they're on display. They had that was one of my favorite parts. The other favorite part I had, the Black Pearl model was really cool, and it was a shooting model. And the thing's freaking huge. It's like 15 feet long by 12 feet high at the top of the mast. I mean, this thing is huge. They had, for those of you who go to Disneyland, they've recently done a lot of revamp over the last couple of years on Haunted Mansion. They took out the original bride at the end of the attic scene and replaced her with one that has face projection. The one they took out was part of this exhibit, complete with the heart beating light.
Nice.
And you know, in the end of the ride, when you're going around and you go in front of those mirrors and you have the three, you know, depending on which car you're in, you'll have one of the three hitchhiking ghosts in the car with you.
Right. They had the originals there.
they replaced those recently with computer generated ones that track you and do
Right.
things like your head around and do all sorts of weird stuff. They had 3 of the originals from that track up on there.
Hmm.
Oh, dude, if you get a chance to go see it, if you're a Disney fan, they had one of the original bears from Country Bear Jamboree. I could gush on this thing forever. I've got pictures.
I can see that, yeah, and very understandably too.
You know I'm a Disney geek when it comes to their tech. Nikki was geeking over the costumes. I was geeking over the tech and the toys. So, oh, dude, I miss Country Bears too. I was actually there for the last performance of Country Bear Jamboree.
Ah, okay.
I have a little pin and everything for it.
Nice.
Oh, man, it was awesome. It was awesome. Anyway, so yeah, check it out. Reagan, I think it's reaganlibrary.org, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
I may be wrong on that, but if you Google it, it'll show up.
Okay.
Definitely check it out. It should be there for another week or two.
Sweet. All right, let's talk about the other half of Disney for this week. And kind of crazy.
Yeah,
It
that's
is-
kind of stupid if you ask me.
Well, yes. Disney, we've talked about numerous times, is on this kick of either making a movie franchise based off of every single ride they have in the park, or...
Talking about that one, I thought you were talking about the other dumb thing they did. This dumb thing I'm not so worried about.
Okay. Well, this one, they also decided to try to reboot some of their classic movies. We've already talked about Disney working on rebooting 20,000 Leagues, which is apparently going to have a massive budget, so, heavily CG, so...
It's going to be massive CG.
Yeah. But the other one that they made the announcement is that they're going to remake the classic 1979 sci-fi film, The Black Hole, which in its time was Disney's most expensive production at like $22 million.
And it flopped like a mother.
Yes, it did.
But I loved that movie.
It was fun. I mean, it's not my favorite film, but it had some moments for me at least.
Oh, I love the robots. Vincent and Maximilian were awesome in my opinion. The Cygnus was the first attempt at a realistic space frame structure.
Right.
In my mind. That movie, the original Black Hole, when I was a kid, I was in 7th or 8th grade. That movie got me interested in science and astronomy, and specifically black holes, to the point where I wrote I was in smart kid classes, right? I was in there's a lot of stuff, but I was in smart kid classes. So I wrote a report on Disney's Black Hole that was like 4 pages long, specifically talking about black holes. So I wrote them as a kid. I wrote Disney Studios, and I'm like, what can you tell me about black holes? What is the theories behind traveling through them? Blah, 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 blah. I hit them with all this scientific shit in like 7th grade, and they came back with, thank you for your questions. Unfortunately, because it was a science fiction story, we don't know. You may want to go talk to physicists.
That's funny.
But they sent me like signed pictures and stuff, so that was cool.
Oh, that's cool. So
anyway, sorry.
No, I mean, Disney's talked about trying to reboot this thing for a while, and they finally made the announcement of who's going to write the script for it. And it's a man called John Spaeth. You probably never heard of his name before, but you probably are aware of his more recent work. He worked on The Darkest Hour, and more famously, the pseudo-alien prequel Prometheus. Now, for those of you who might say, well, Prometheus sucked in terms of story, Space actually created the first draft of the script, which actually was tied very closely with the alien mythology and the history and whatnot. And it was because of the production company basically said, no, let's take out most of those things to make it more of a standalone feature.
Yeah.
You can actually read sections of his treatment online, and it's actually pretty damn good. He's also working on another reboot for the Mummy franchise, not the late '90s one, but
you're talking about the reboot of the Lon Chaney version.
Yes. So having him there,
I'm sorry, not Lon Chaney, Boris Karloff.
Yes, Boris Karloff. Yes. So it could be good. I mean, again, this is so freaking early on in the production quality, but the fact you have a decent screenwriter attached at the beginning, let's hope Disney allows them to just go with what he knows and what he can do. Play to his strong points, not do what they did to LucasArts.
Kaczynski's a decent director.
Yes, that's true.
I mean, so I'm hoping against hope that it's going to be good.
Well,
And that they don't fuck up my robot. You know, it's like when Nikki was pissed off on. Oh, great, we just hit the illicit tag. When Nikki was pissed off that G.I. Joe fucked up her ninjas, I'm going to be pissed off they fuck up my robots.
Yeah, it's going to happen. You know it's going to happen. So.
As long as they don't get Larry the Cable Guy to do the country robot.
Yeah.
Because Slim Pickens, who was the original Bob voice, is no longer with us.
True.
So they have to pull somebody country to do it, and I don't want to have that robot be Mater. You know?
Oh man, the thoughts are already running through my head on that.
And
All right.
The original voice of Vincent's no longer with us either.
Yeah, true.
Because oh god, what was his name? I know the name.
And time's up.
Chat room, help me out.
I'm sorry, we were looking for Spartacus.
No, it's not Spartacus. Roddy McDowell. Thank you very much, Nightstar. Roddy McDowell, unfortunately, is no longer with us either. So they're going to have to get new voices for both of those characters. And Maximilian never had a voice, so that's not a problem. You just had a lot of sound effects.
True.
He whirred angrily.
All right. Well, before we get to the others, the Disney is freaking stupid because we'll save it to the end because that's gonna be a long rant. So.
Oh my god.
Let's give some good news. Well, good and bad news about Doctor Who. For all you Doctor Who fans out there, we know that this year is the 50th anniversary of the franchise, and like with most Doctors, always a special or two that comes up where they bring back some of the previous Doctors.
It's usually on the major anniversaries that they do it.
Right. And for the 50th, it was announced a while back that, who was it was coming back? It was David Tennant coming back to reprise his role as the 10th Doctor, and as I can't remember the actress's name who played Rose Tyler.
Billy Piper.
Billy Piper, yes. We know both of them are coming back.
But they haven't announced any of the pre-Doctor Who reboot.
No.
Doctors. So I want to see. Bring Peter Davison. If Pertwee's still alive, get him in there somehow.
Maybe, yeah.
Tom Baker, I know, is still alive, because he was in Lord of the Rings. We need people.
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of people they can possibly bring in, and the fact that Stephen Moffat, the guy who's running basically the show right for this iteration, has already stated that there's not just one special. There's a number of specials they're working on. So, but the big one is this huge thing's to come out in like 7 or 8 months.
Right.
They just recently did the first read through of the script. I mean, here's a shot of the two Doctors together. There's other shots you can see the companions with them as well.
You know, wouldn't it be like matter, antimatter if they touched food?
It's the
But
Doctor.
then Amy will just remember it and bring it all back, so it's all good.
And it'd be the return of Dr. Donna, and then no.
Yeah, Dr. Donna.
But a lot of people were wondering, what about the 9th Doctor, the one that helped with the reboot of the series?
Yeah, I mean, I know people who loved Eccleston's version of the Doctor, and I thought he was fantastic.
He was great. I mean, he gave a sense of, I wouldn't say snarkyism to it.
Well, yeah, he was urgent. I mean, he could do the urgent. He did the silly, the kind of dopey silly really well. But when he needed to be tough, he was tough. I mean, Eccleston was phenomenal as the Doctor, in my opinion.
But he had a lot of problems with the staff at the time. And that's why he was only a Doctor for 1 season, or basically 1 year. In a recent interview, he stated that he left because of politics. He did not see eye to eye with them. He didn't agree with the way things were being run. He didn't like the culture that had grown up around the series. So he left basically over his own principles. So, and he went, and Stephen Moffat actually went to him, talked to him a few times, and he still turned down the chance to come back for at least the special as the 9th Doctor. So sadly, that's not going to happen.
I'm hoping he changes his mind. Yeah. Not that our little podunk podcast is going to have any influence. But if by some miraculous snowball's chance in hell, Eccleston or Eccleston's people hear about this podcast, dude, 1 frickin' episode. You were phenomenal as a Doctor. Come back. 1 freaking episode's all you have to do. You can even come in and go, you know what? Fuck you all, and walk away. I'm okay with that. Just show up.
And we have time. I mean, is the episode's not going to air until November 23rd of this year. So I mean, who knows what's going to happen on that stuff.
Sega fans talking in the chat room really quick about the black and white Doctor Who, the Aztec episode. Yeah, those are the BBC's been doing a lot of re-release of the original Doctors.
Yes.
They're also on Netflix. So if you go to Netflix, you can catch the it's weird because a lot of the original Doctor episodes for first and second Doctor are lost. They're gone.
Yes.
There's no way to get them back, but they have some of them. So Netflix has the Aztec episode of the first Doctor. They have 2 or 3 episodes of the second Doctor, or storylines anyway. They have 2 storylines of the second Doctor, and they had a bunch of John Pertwee, who's the third Doctor. They had a couple episodes of his storylines, which is when he was kind of like the hipster, not hipster, but the hip, cool James Bond style Doctor. And then they have a lot of the Tom Bakers, who was the fourth Doctor, who was my Doctor, the one I grew up with.
Right.
But so yeah, you can see them. To a Kickstarter to get him on the special. How much money would it take to get Chris Eccleston back on the show?
Yeah, it would probably be a lot.
I don't know. I mean, if the fans see the story that he tells and the story that I heard don't match, so I'm sure the truth is somewhere in the middle. And I get the whole principles thing, but how long can you disappoint the fans?
True.
I mean, okay, yeah, Destro's out of the band, but you know, what the hell?
Who knows?
My first incident Kickstarter. Yes, Tom Baker is incredible. I love Tom Baker as the Doctor.
All right, shall we move on?
Oh, sure. Let's move on.
Let's talk.
The last of the Disney stupidity?
Nah, we're waiting out to the end.
Oh, no. Let's get that shit out of the way now.
You want to jump into that now? All right, go for it.
And Disney has, again, lost its damn mind. Everybody knows that Disney acquired all of the Lucasfilm properties. Lucasfilm, LucasArts. I don't think they own ILM. I don't know about that one. But I know they
did, yeah.
They own LucasArts and they own Lucasfilm. LucasArts is the gaming division. Was it earlier this week or earlier this month? They announced that earlier this month would have been earlier this week. They announced that they have and did shut down the entire LucasArts division, killing every game in progress, regardless of status, shut down. They've decided in their infinite wisdom that they want to go with a licensing model as opposed to trying to build anything in-house. That means that Star Wars 1313, dead in the water. The new Battlefront game, dead in the water. I heard there was rumor of a Jedi Academy game, dead in the water. I don't know if there was I also heard rumors of a follow-up to the Dark Apprentice series. Let me open up Skype or Spark or Steam. I can tell you exactly what it's called. Hang on.
Yeah, it's a number of titles that Disney had, or LucasArts had in their stable of games they were working on.
Yeah, Jedi Knight is stuff. No, Dark Forces, that isn't the one.
And to clarify you, Michael, on the purchase, Disney actually owns ILM and Skywalker Sound.
Oh,
they own the whole thing.
Well, that means they've got one of the best effects houses in the world, and hopefully they won't shut it down. But either way, they decided they want to go with a licensing route instead of building it in-house. From what I understand, 1313 was over halfway done. It was in the home stretch.
Yeah.
I don't know about Jedi Knight or any of the others, but it's dumb. Well, in my opinion.
Okay.
But something somebody else did that I think was a big FU to Disney that was pretty funny. I'll let you tell that one.
Okay, yeah.
Or make your comment first, sorry.
Okay, my comment about the whole Disney shutting down LucasArts. I will agree, LucasArts have created a number of games that are very memorable in my childhood and stuff I've played back in the day. Someone fairly current in the last 5, 6 years. There's some games there that I've played that I enjoyed.
Well, and their
But
adventure games were awesome too.
but the way I look at it, I mean, for a while now, there hasn't been like a triple A title that LucasArts has produced and released out to the public. Now, that being said, the possibilities of Star Wars 1313, as well as the Star Wars First Assault game that was rumored to be worked on, that stuff looked promising in the sense that I was hoping that was going to be um, the start of their revival. I would say that. But with them gone, that's kind of sad. And
Force Unleashed. That's the one I was thinking about.
Force Unleashed. Okay. Here's where I'm probably going to disagree with you a little bit on this.
Mm-hmm.
This could possibly be a good move from a certain point of view.
From a business standpoint, it's a smart move. I'm not saying it's not there.
We're also seeing from a gaming point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's always anything that's been, a Star Wars game. Obviously, it comes from LucasArts. And they'll do some...
No. LucasArts does license stuff out. Because KOTOR was Bungie.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, BioWare.
Because of that, and that was so freaking good.
Mm-hmm.
The fact they're going straight to a licensing only standpoint, which means you get all these other companies that have great pedigree and great games that they've already worked on in the past. You give them a crack at the Star Wars universe. That could be freaking amazing. What's up?
With Disney's finger in the pie.
That's always going to happen. Regardless, even if LucasArts was still around, Disney would have their fingers so far entrenched in that game, whatever game they decide to bring out. This is just another company working on it. Given the fact that it's a different company rather than one that's actually owned by Disney, that might give them a little leeway to expand to other territories that LucasArts, being a company underneath Disney, might not have been able to do. That's my view on it, is that it sucks for all the people who worked at LucasArts. I'm pissed that I'm not going to be able to play all these great games, and due to licensing issues, there's a slim chance in hell that 1313 would be eventually released. It's now going to be just pure vaporware.
Kind of like StarCraft Ghost.
Right, and let's just hope that it does not go the path of Duke Nukem Forever, where it came out like 13 years later, and it sucked. So
okay, yeah, Duke Nukem Forever's nobody that's the video game equivalent of the jumping the shark episode. I mean,
it's vaporware, and for all of our sanities, keep it as vaporware. As much as I would love to play it, and you're not going to license it out, just let it be vaporware.
Or another thing they could do. I see what you're saying. I'm just depends on how much creative freedom they give these third-party companies, and how tight their contracts are. But I understand what you're saying about licensing out because you get fresh minds and all that fun stuff. Also, part of the problem is I unfortunately know people who worked at LucasArts. Admittedly, I haven't talked to them in a long time, but I know people who work there. And I feel sorry for them losing their jobs. So that kind of really bugs me.
Right.
I mean, Arlen Robbins is a hell of a modeler. But what I hope they would do is look at, say, 1313 and say, okay, we've got this asset. It's largely done. Let's give it to another company and let them finish it.
I'd be all for that. But to me, the realm of that possibly happening...
Like it was going to be the Star Wars equivalent of Mass Effect from what I'd seen. As far as control, action, how it worked, what kind of story... Not so much what kind of story it was, because there's not supposed to be any Force... No Jedis in it at all, from what I understand. But I'd like to see them do that. Uncharted, okay, yeah, Uncharted's a good comparison instead. Actually, Uncharted's a better comparison than Mass Effect was. So, I'd like to see them do something with it.
Yeah,
give it to Naughty Dog. Let them play with it. They did such a great job with Uncharted.
This is true, and I know they already have a couple of titles that they're working on that will come out eventually this year. Not to mention, I'm sure they already have a number of PS4 titles in the works. So we'll see what happens. Yeah. The other thing that Michael wanted me to talk about was in response to the fact of LucasArts closing down.
Honestly, it's a big F you to Disney.
It really is. Like we stated before, there were companies that did received the Star Wars license to create a game outside of LucasArts, and one of them was Raven Studio. And they worked on Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast, and Jedi Academy. Those were fun games for the time frame. I mean, the graphics were okay for the time frame, but the action was pretty solid, and it had a good storyline.
Yes.
I guess they're calling it a tribute to the closure of LucasArts. They released a statement that we loved and appreciated the experience of getting to make Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast, and Jedi Academy for LucasArts. As a gift to the persistently loyal fan base for our Jedi games, and in memory of LucasArts, we are releasing the source code for both games for people to enjoy and play with. So
yeah.
I instantly downloaded that.
Well, yeah, no, but here's the thing with that, and I heard there was, and that's cool. That's hella cool. I wish I was code savvy enough to do anything with it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of modders are going to be thrilled about that.
Yes,
because people are going to want to do custom mods for the Jedi Knight games forever.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, and I saw this in a comment that the source code is only the game engine. It's not the models.
Yes, correct. I mean, if they gave away the models...
It's not like they gave away Star Wars assets.
No, they couldn't do that or else they get sued.
Right. So they just gave away the engine, and maybe that's what's going to keep them from getting nailed too heavily.
True. So I think it's freaking awesome they're doing it. I've downloaded it. I've already...
keep somebody from taking that, grabbing, I don't know, what are some fairly open source models? Gary's Mod much? Go grab the models out of that and put them into there. Dude, Jedi Knight Team Fortress for the hell of it.
There you go. There you go.
Where your spy suddenly whips out a light dagger.
So if you guys want to mess around with it, you can find it online. It's on SourceForge, and you can find links all over the internet. So it hasn't been taken down yet. So
yep.
All right. What should we talk about next? I'm going to go a little out of order because we've been doing that. I want to talk about some movie tech.
Oh, yes.
This is
We're going on
epic.
number 23, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you may have seen, at a number of cons that you go, anime cons you go to, that there's a new trend in photographers that they will bring essentially a Steadicam outfit, which is basically you see a vest attached
usually
to
a big harness attached to a vest that keeps the camera from bouncing too much as you move around.
Exactly. And those, they do their job. It's been evolving for many years, but those things are like, at least even the professional models are very expensive.
Yeah, like over 50 grand a pop.
Exactly. So even as they make really nice smooth movements, they're still susceptible to a lot of jarring and jagging at times, depending on how you're actually using the design. But a company, what the hell is their name? I forget their name. Can't remember the name. But anyways, there's this company that decided to create a new version. The company is called Freefly, and they wanted to make their own version of the Steadicam, but not only just make their own version, they wanted to improve upon it. One of the big things about the Steadicam is that it uses a very heavy counterweight. And trust me, Steadicam operators are pretty beefy. They can support themselves pretty decently if they actually can use that. But with this new piece of hardware called the Movie, and I'm going to bring it up right here, it's a digital 3-axis gyro-stabilized gimbal.
Effectively, yeah.
But there's no counterweight. So you can hold this thing in one hand. These are just some shots that they were using. I mean, a guy's just running alongside. You can tell he's running all bumpy all over the place. And yet the actual shot, they're saying they didn't do any editing on it. They didn't use Apple Shake to try to limit the movement and whatnot. This is just...
I love Shake.
Yeah, Apple Shake is fun. They can do so many cool shots. Like this one, they actually got the camera guy in the same shot while he's filming them getting in the copter. The camera guy gets in the copter, gets secured in, and just continuous shot going up and out.
The thing about that, but now there's a codicil you got to throw on this,
which is
your standard Steadicams are built for film cameras and for digital film cameras.
Hmm.
You'll notice all these shots they're doing are using digital video or 35 millimeter, not 35 millimeter, I'm sorry, DSLRs.
Yeah, like this
Now,
one they're using
that
a
being
Canon
said-
1DC.
Right, exactly, because those can do, 1080p video. They're
Mhm.
almost to the point where they can do there's one coming out in a year or two, I think, that can do 4K cinema spec
Yes.
in a DSLR body.
Hmm.
So if you're using that kind of camera, that works, and those are fantastic because you can if you're a photographer like me and you've got a collection of lenses, you can just swap them out to
Exactly.
get whatever you want and still get incredible quality. So yeah, I want one of these. I want one of these,
Yeah.
some kind of bad.
The entire thing is less than 3.5 pounds. You can actually include an attachment, so you have a second operator just handle the gimbal. So you have someone just running along a certain path, and another person's actually controlling the angle and the shot of the camera
Right.
itself.
They're moving the yeah. How much does this thing go for?
Well, that's the thing, though. Like you said, professional level Steadicam rigs are like upwards of 50 grand. This one is designed, the first version, I should say, is designed to be professional, used by
Okay.
professionals. But it's only going to be 15 grand.
Which
Already a
admittedly,
significant drop.
for
And,
someone like you and me, that's cheap. That's oh my god.
and
I
I
don't
gotta
have that
say,
kind of
this shot.
money. Holy crap! He's doing this on rollerblades.
Oh, it gets better what this guy
I haven't
does.
seen this particular video. I just saw
Okay,
the one pic.
so
of the
he's
guy doing
rollerblading up behind, gets a shot internal, hangs on to the taxi as he goes in, and then while they go through an intersection, he pulls away, all in the same shot. And it's so smooth because I'm going to show the actual shot here. And again, this is something that hasn't really been touched. This is just a single continuous
raw footage.
shot. And it just looks so epic.
Oh, dude, I have so got to get me one of these.
Well,
This is badass.
like I stated, they started with the first version, which is going to be 15 grand.
Uh-huh.
There's going to be a less, I guess, casual professional, I guess you want to call it, semi-pro version.
Semi-pro.
That is going to be released at the end of this year for $7,500.
Okay, what is it? What are its limits?
We don't know yet. We know there's going to be a semi-pro version coming in the near future. Which, I mean, that's going to start trickling down. That's going to be amazing.
Dude, I know. I mean, and it's I would love to have one of these. I would just, oh my god, the fun I could have with this.
And Steadicam, which shot are you showcasing?
Actually, that would be X Stylus that posted
Oh,
it.
X
and I
Stylus.
think
Oh, this
it's-
one. Yeah, the Swedish
That's
one.
the
That thing is
console-
amazing.
Yeah, the longest yet most epic Steadicam shot.
Yeah, that
it's not
thing-
the most ever. I think there's been some since, but that's an incredible Steadicam shot.
It is an incredible Steadicam shot. The one he's talking about is a guy is racing toward a stage, using the Steadicam
What, during a concert?
on what's it called? What is those stupid things called? Can't remember. Segway. Thank you. I drew a blank on it.
Oh yeah, he rides up on a Segway, jumps off the Segway.
Runs up the stage, circles around the lead singer a few times, all while getting this really epic shot. Then pulls away to the guitarist, then goes off stage, all in one continuous shot. It's pretty epic.
It is an impressive.
Though I have to say, probably the best, in my opinion, best Steadicam shot that I have seen, professional or otherwise, was a shot in Kill Bill Part 1 in the restaurant.
Oh,
Do you remember the shot where they keep going over, they'll go over walls, look down, follow several characters, do wide shots of the entire band and stage, and then go into a close-up of other
that was a
characters?
continuous shot, but I don't think it was continuous Steadicam.
It was.
Was it?
It was.
Okay.
They actually had...
I thought that was actually a flown rig.
I thought it was too until I saw the behind-the-scenes video where it was actually a guy with a Steadicam, and they added extra bit to the harness where it attached to a jib, and he would do his
Jesus.
shots and then
So you just
attach him
move
and then pick him
attach
up.
to a jib and
Yeah,
oh wow,
one continuous shot.
that's impressive.
As Isaac at 59 in the chat says, Evil Dead 2 when they go through the cabin, that was a really good continuous shot as well. But yeah,
But I don't know
Steadicam
if
shots are awesome, and
they have Steadicam for that too.
with this technology, it's getting closer and closer to where people like you and I can actually start doing stuff like this, or at least attempt to.
That and the fact that you've got these DSLR bodies that can do this high res.
Yep.
You've got, instead of carrying around 30, 40 pounds of camera, you're carrying as well as another 20 pounds of Steadicam, or Steadicam rig rather. You're carrying around, what'd you say it was, like 4 pounds or 8 pounds, something like that.
What, the Steadicam rig or this one? The movie.
This one.
This movie's under 3.5 pounds.
Okay, so you've got an under 3.5 pound rig, coupled with a less than 3 pound camera, coupled with, depending on your lens, if you're doing a long throw with, of course, if you're doing a long throw on a Steadicam, you're an idiot. But, but let's go that route. Say you're doing a massive long throw lens. So that's another 5 pounds for less than a third of the weight of a pro rig with a basic mount.
I don't even want to think of
hardcore wearing this damn thing.
I don't even want to know how much the prototype versions that they used in the Star Wars movies, how heavy those things were.
Oh God!
Because those ones literally had just like dumbbell weights hanging off the ends. It was like
counter, yeah.
God.
Yeah. So no, I totally want this to come out because I've got some ideas that we've been bubbling around for a while that we could have a lot of fun with.
Oh yes, most definitely.
And my next camera, that's my next camera that I want is one of the DSLRs with full motion video.
There's a number out there, and considering this week is NAB, the National Association of Broadcasters, there are toys abound.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I wish I was in Vegas right now.
Down in price too. The red.
The first version of the red came down in price. The one that you can actually upgrade the chip later on if you really wanted to for an extra like $3 or $4 grand. Yeah, I know.
Film res in the palm of your hand, man.
Well, considering 4K cinema, not cinema, but 4K TVs are become widely available.
They were at CES this year.
Yeah, they were at CES. Vizio has several 4K TVs coming out by the end of this year, starting at like under $1,000.
Right. The problem is the content's not there yet.
This is true.
It will be in the next couple of years, but
oh yeah. Isaac in the chat. The reason this stuff's so expensive because not that many people need it. Well, that used to be. He's right. But as this stuff starts trickling down to the semi-pro, to the casual user, to people like Michael and I, who we drool over the uber professional stuff that we know we could never afford in our lifetimes. But
I'm more than willing to use this.
Exactly. So, okay. I want to talk about a segment that we're going to do from, here and there, because Michael's not too happy with his iPhone 4S, and he wants to move to Android. So we already started a segment every once in a while called Help Michael Find a New Phone. And this new one, I wanted to throw in there.
Say it's not on the list, so this is a new one on me.
No, it is in the list. I just put a different title on it. This one's not essentially a new phone per se, but a new way to utilize an Android phone that I'm pretty sure Michael will never use. Yeah, Michael will probably never use this. It is called Facebook Home. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because whether or not you're a hardcore Facebook user, I mean, yes, I use Facebook for, talking to people like on the show and whatnot with this, but I'm not really like a hardcore user. I'm not on it 24/7. There are a number of people who are, though, people that I know that are. And there's always been apps to utilize, Facebook, on Android and iOS devices. This is Facebook's attempt of trying to not create an OS, but to create an entire experience on a phone that connects every single aspect of Facebook in everything that you do.
Redefining the GUI a little bit.
Exactly. I mean, it's not just a new GUI for launching apps. For example, like the lock screen is utilized as a cover feed, which prioritizes updates from people instead of apps. So if your friends are talking about certain things or have a conversation, that pops up on your home screen. You can also swipe left and right to see the latest pictures that you can actually select who and what you actually want to see on your cover feed. All your notifications are presented as small cards on your homepage, utilizing this new algorithm that claims it only shows the stuff that's important to you. So, I mean, that's a little bit of Big Brother on that, but...
I was going to say, with somebody as mercurial as my mindset goes, that can change from hour to hour, minute to minute.
True. I mean, they're doing a bunch of things on it, and I will admit, some of the ideas that they have for this, for lack of a better phrase, this GUI...
I know. I was just like, and your friends can find out that you're secretly a furry or into BDSM. I'll have you know that it's no secret with me.
This is true.
Now, which of those two I'm referring to, I'll let you figure that out. But...
some things I do appreciate is the things like the whole chat heads feature. It basically combines your IMs, text messages, Facebook, messages into a universal interface. So if you're one that's really, big into the Facebook chatting, and you want to mix your text messages into that, it actually combines the whole thing into one seamless, design.
Mm-hmm.
They integrate the whole camera feature where you can instantly use if you're really into it, the Instagram filters and instantly update without the use of going into a camera app, without going to a YouTube app or a Facebook app, regardless of what you're looking into. I mean, if you're a fan of Facebook and you use it fairly often, I could see you using this. Michael, probably not.
No.
Yeah.
No. There's a point that's brought up in the chat room that I very much agree with, and that occurred into my mind too. The only way, I guarantee Facebook isn't doing this out of the goodness of their heart.
Oh no, hell no. This is all about ad revenue.
Yeah, exactly. And while they may not be doing it now, there's going to come a point where just start streaming ads at you.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is only limited to, specific Android devices, because it's always been rumored that Facebook wanted to create their own phone. This is the closest we're going to get, but they actually teamed up with cell phone manufacturer HTC to create the HTC First. It's a very clean design. I will give it that. It is by no means powerful. I mean, it's only a dual core. It has, I think, less than 256 megs of RAM.
Is that an HTC One with their interface?
A very low-powered HTC. I think it's closer to the HTC One X. Anything else? Because it's only a dual core. It's only a 7.
First, so
yeah, it's a 720p screen. But the reason they're calling it the First is because it has Facebook Home fully integrated into it right off the bat.
Okay.
So I mean, this is for your teenagers and whatnot. And here's the thing: the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because this whole beef with Facebook trying to become like their own phone kind of thing is actually a big slam at Apple. And this may hurt Apple in some circumstances because of a number of factors. First up, the search engine that's built into the Facebook app, which is going to be the default engine if anybody uses Facebook Home on all Android devices, is going to be Bing because they're tied in with Microsoft.
Oh, Jesus. How to piss off Android 101.
Well, the thing is, Google is kind of, if not already, have already lost their hold of Android for the sake of being open. Well, open. Let's leave it at that. And with Facebook tying in stuff with Microsoft, kind of annoys with that. It's also a smack in the face to Apple because of the design. It looks very clean. There's several videos online. You can see a lot of hands-on videos by like Engadget and The Verge and whatnot. I will say the GUI is very clean. It looks very nice, which is not a surprise because Facebook poached a lot of Apple developers to work just solely on this design. And if you got the hundreds of millions of people who actually use Facebook and the small percentage of them who may pick this up, who aren't really like hardcore tech savvy like you and I, that's going to take away from revenue on their phones, both Google and or more importantly Apple, because yes, Apple has some Facebook integration. I mean, you can use your camera and automatically share to Facebook. I
can do that now with my iPhone.
Exactly. But for like the trendsetter, the wannabe hipsters of the world out there who like, I want to use something that allows me to use my Facebook in every single way. This is what they're going to go for. Instead of just using an app on the iPhone, why not go to this other phone, which is almost 100% Facebook, and Apple loses people that way.
Yeah, but at that point, it's a little more than it reminds me of the Chromebook, which I personally can't stand.
The Chromebook Pixel.
the Chromebook, the Chromebook anything. I think the Chromebook, the whole idea of the Chromebook is dumb, in my opinion, for anyone who's looking to do more than a browser. You know.
Well, I look at it as eventually this is going to slowly start pulling people away from Apple. I mean,
Apple's going to slowly start pulling people away from Apple. I mean, come on.
Yeah, okay.
As much as there are some really cool things about the iPhone 4S, which I use, and people like my dad are hardcore Mac heads.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a good phone. I like it. It's got some cool stuff. I want my Android back.
I'm the exact opposite. That I've used Android phones for a while now, and I am so ready to jump back over to Apple's side and pick up an iPhone 5 or whatever else it's going to come out eventually.
When did you have an Apple? You never had an Apple phone.
Well, I did. Well, the short time that I actually had an Apple phone was actually when I went to Japan. I actually rented one.
Oh, okay.
And before then, I've always just used the I have the iPad. I have a MacBook Pro that I prefer on the go rather than to a standard Windows laptop.
Okay, I'll give you that. I'm the same way. I've got my Windows laptop. I've got a MacBook that I've been using because it's a quick, easy pick up and go. As long as I'm not going to be doing anything major with it. Mm-hmm. If I'm going somewhere where I know I'm going to be working on video, or if I, heaven forbid, want to go somewhere and play, like if I want to come down to your house and do some WoW, I ain't bringing the MacBook. I'm bringing the Cosmio.
Yeah, true. I understand that. So I mean, Apple is on this global thermonuclear war battle against Google, and now you have this competitor kind of taken away from both of them. It's
Apple's so busy paying attention to Google that it's not looking at the other guys,
which may bite them in the ass.
Exactly, because I was watching the other day commercial for the new BlackBerry. I was completely under the impression that RimOS was dead,
and this thing has not changed that thought in my head.
But I'm looking at it. I'm looking at the commercial, and I'm not saying it's going to resurrect RIM, but what I am saying is that their interface, while looking not unlike iOS or Android, there's similarities because people expect that. It looks clean.
Yeah, they spend a good amount of time.
Is it going to be a serious competitor?
No.
Probably not, except for the folks who are already the BlackBerry crackheads.
Exactly.
Because the crackberry crowd's going to look at it and go, hey, okay, this is kind of like what I know, but it's got a lot of different stuff. Mm-hmm. So that may, the crackberry heads rather, will probably keep it alive. But yeah, if Apple doesn't stop mono-focusing, they're going to get bitten both sides are going to get bitten in the ass when something unexpected sneaks up and says, hi guys, I'm here.
There are two new mobile OS that I know are currently in development. One's by Mozilla, which is finally going to come out this year.
I've been working on that how many years?
Yeah, and they finally released or had a press conference and released a bunch of the new features, and it actually looks kind of cool. There is a small group of people working in Europe on a completely open-sourced mobile OS that actually has potential to not take over the market, but take away like maybe 5 to 10% of the market.
Oh yeah. No, nobody's going to walk in and nobody's going to sweep in and grab everything without some sort of governmental mandate.
Sure.
You know? But it's going to schism the crowd.
Oh yeah, and a lot of people are looking at not only just the phones themselves, but the accessories. Like, I have, a Pebble Watch, and I love this thing, and it works on both Android and iOS devices. You have Google working on Google Glass. You have Apple rumored to be working on their own version of the wearable watch computer thing. Their own version of the Pebble, basically.
Glass. Microsoft did Glass, wasn't it? No.
Well,
you're talking about the eye thing, right?
Yeah, that's Google Glasses or Google Glass.
Sorry, I brain fried for a minute. You're right. I can't wait for that to come out.
Which is funny because they've talked about it here and there, and we haven't heard squat from anybody else. We've had people saying that's kind of cool. It'd be cool to make a competitor, but no one's really stepped up until this came out from Microsoft. They released they got a patent for their own competitor for a wearable camera computer that attaches to your phone.
It's a pair of Oakleys with an iPort.
Yeah, basically.
That's actually kind of cool looking. See, that's what that's what Google should have done, because Google's got that big ass wraparound.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they should have done. They should have done the whole shoot through where it says 990.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they should have done.
Yeah, this is codename Fortaleza. This is going to be an augmented reality eyewear, basically their version of Google Glass. And they claim that it's going to be revealed later this year and then out to the public for retail next year, like in the same time frame essentially as Google Glass. But we haven't heard jack from this until like a day ago.
Microsoft does have Skunkworks.
This is true. But I was like, this is kind of out of the blue. Hey, now we're going to have actually competitors on the whole wearable computing market, which could be good and bad. And it'll be probably at least another 5 years before Apple gets involved, but theirs will probably be sleek as all hell.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
And just imagine how Microsoft's going to incorporate those eyewear into the Xbox 720 or whatever.
You know it's going to happen. Yeah.
It's going to reach your glasses, and you could do stuff, and it'll throw specs of the game into your HUD. Your HUD will be here.
Hey, if I could have a second screen for my Durango games, was the codename for the Xbox 720 or whatever they're going to call it, right here. Could you imagine like a number of, for lack of a better example, sports games? You can actually choose your plays up here rather than having it on the giant screen where everyone else can just realize, oh, you're going to do that, so I'm going to do this. So,
I don't play sports games, but I get your point.
I play very few sports games, but when I do, yeah.
Are you a Madden head?
No, dear God, no. Let me phrase that. I played...
You would lose major respect points if you told me you played Madden.
No, when it came to sports back in the day, I wasn't a Madden head. I was a 2K fan. All the Sega games, the NBA 2K and NFL 2K and whatnot. I enjoyed that stuff. So.
Okay, I'll forgive you this time.
All right. I did want to mention this before we wrap things up. I know Michael's going to be happy with this. Yen Press had made the announcement that we already know High School of Dead is coming back, or at least coming back in manga form. Mm-hmm. And Yen Press was the company that brought that manga stateside. Granted, it took a while for it to show up, but not anymore. With the next chapter that will be released, let's see, April 9th, actually in 2 days, Yen Press will release the translated version stateside day and date.
Yes. Who's the distributor?
A number of places. If they offer Yen Press manga, they will have this in stock.
Let me rephrase the question. Who's the U.S. distributor for the manga? Is it?
No, it's Yen Press. Yen Press is the distributor.
People. Okay. Wow.
So, yeah, that's gonna come out day and date. So you have 2 days to pick up another. Not
as etchy as some other titles, trust me.
This is true. So that's coming out in 2 days. So I thought Michael would enjoy to hear that.
Oh yeah, I'm a big HOTD fan.
All right. As we wrap up, as always, Michael, what have you been watching? And you actually have been watching some stuff, haven't you?
I have been actually watching some stuff. The big thing I was watching was I saw the premiere pilot for Hannibal.
I haven't seen that yet.
It's surprisingly good. I can go into this a little bit without being too spoilerific.
Okay.
Lawrence Fishburne plays the head of this serial killer task force group for profiling for FBI. There's a consultant played by a guy who reminds me a lot of Billy Crudup, actually, who's a little touched, not in the monk sense of the word, but in the sense that this guy's a total empath. So he's able to make all these logical leaps of faith that the other profilers can't make, and put together what's going on for a serial killer's mindset. and it kind of screws with him mentally. So to try and figure this guy out and make sure he's going to be stable, Fishburne goes to try and get somebody to figure him out, and the guy he ends up getting referred to is Hannibal Lecter. This is before Hannibal is known as Hannibal the Cannibal.
Okay.
So, and the guy who's playing him, which is the guy who played Le Chiffre in
Casino
Royale, he's brilliant. He's really good. He plays it very well. He, oh God,
it's just that good.
Get that. Well, I mean, and they waste no time establishing that he's a serial killer and that he's eating people. That happens in the first episode. He's not the one they're looking for in the first episode.
Oh, okay.
But they establish pretty quick that he is. And they may or may not have had the messed up doctor or the messed up profiler, may or may not have inadvertently ingested human flesh. You have to watch it to see what I'm talking about.
Okay.
It is completely worth it. I will actually follow this series because it looks good.
Okay.
Dexter, if it didn't go off the rails. No. Well,
because they really did jump the rails in like 2 seasons ago.
Well, I haven't watched a lot of Dexter. I know the concept of Dexter.
Okay.
Yes and no, because while Lecter has the ability to do profiling and is good at it, and he begins to understand this guy, he's not. Dexter was, for lack of a better term, a man with a mission.
Yeah.
Okay. Dexter was out to take out serial killers and thus becoming one. Lecter's in it for himself in the game. For Lecter, it's all a game.
This is true.
And wow, I was watching it and I'm going, damn it, they hooked me. If the writing continues to be this good, I will be watching this show regularly.
Okay.
Now, I watched it on Hulu Plus, which is fine. Because that means I can watch it when I want to watch it. But it's good. It really is. You asked me in pre-show, how does he compare to Anthony Hopkins? It's comparing apples and oranges. I mean, yeah, there's similarities, but
he doesn't rely on Hopkins' version to play the character.
No, he doesn't.
Nice.
In fact, Hopkins' version was British. Okay, this guy's from Paris. He's a French actor.
Yes.
He has barely any accent, but they actually refer at one point, and I think this is how they explain this accent, is, there's this thing where he's been drawing, where it's when he and Fishburne first meet up. He's looking at these drawings that he's done. He's like, oh yeah, that's the boarding school I went to when I was in Paris, when I was raised in Paris. And I'm like, okay, that's a twist that I didn't know before. And it worked out really well. I mean, but Hopkins' version of the character and this guy's version of the character, while compatible, are different. It's really hard to make the comparison. They're both good.
Well, I will have to check it out then.
Definitely.
As for me, well, what else have you been watching?
Oh, what else have I been watching? Crap, I had other stuff too, and I forgot what it was. I got so upset.
No worries. I have, the past 36 hours, I guess you can say, a bunch of the new spring season of anime has just started streaming stateside.
Oh, yeah, you have to tell me what's good.
So far, I'm hooked on 4 new series, so...
Okay.
But then again, like I always say, I give a series like 5 episodes before I decide whether or not to drop it. At least I'm optimistic about 4 series so far. I will say that.
Okay. I agree with Prinizawa. Spill it. What's good?
Well, so far, like I caught the first episode of season 2 of Imo. So if you were a fan of the series before,
I haven't watched Imo. I need to watch that.
It's fun. It's cute and it kind of gets a little odd at times, but overall it's still enjoyable. Especially all the otaku references that are just rampant in the entire series.
Part of the problem is that my premium account for Crunchyroll died. So.
Oh, be like the rest of us and pay $7 a month.
Maybe.
Hey, I've been doing that for a while, so
maybe.
So
I'm already paying for Netflix and Hulu Plus, so I don't know if I want to add another one yet.
True. Moromi-san, which is kind of like similar to Ikamusume in terms of the style, but it's about a mermaid, and it's random as all hell. I've only seen one
Kind of like
episode.
Ikamusume.
Yeah, so but doesn't have the whole "I want to take over the planet." It's just you hooked me while fishing, therefore you must suffer,
Oh, God.
kind of thing. So,
So it's a tsundere mermaid.
yes, very much so.
Okay.
Gargantia on the Verdurous Planet. It's the new series by Production IG. Holy crap! Is this going to be epic? Like
Good writing?
damn good writing. It's Gen Urabuchi or Bochi, sorry. Guy who wrote Madoka and Fate Zero and whatnot. So you know shit's gonna go down. Very grandiose design in terms of the art style, the action scene so far. They're
So are
definitely
they making up for the crappy character designs of Psychopaths yet?
kind of, yeah.
Kind of grew on me, by the way.
It does grow up
By the
after a
end of the
while.
season. By the end of the season, it grew on me.
I think a lot of people were like hesitant on the styles or the character designs for Psychopaths because they came out stated before the first episode
No
even
moe,
aired
yeah.
that no moe is a forbidden word in this series. What else did I watch? Nyarko-san, the second season. That's just cute. If you like Cthulhu in the form of a little high school anime girl, you're gonna enjoy it.
I don't want to know where the tentacles come from.
Hair.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Which
But
set?
the one that I watched just earlier today that kind of has me curious is called The Severing Crime Edge. You have this boy who loves to cut things, specifically girls' hair. He has this like fanatical obsession about trying to cut girls' hair, like I want to cut you, kind of thing.
Speaking of Dexter.
Comes across this girl who has, of course, because it's an anime, magical hair that cannot be cut by ordinary scissors.
Oh, Jesus.
But then you get into like some really like hairball shit because it grows into more.
Describe guy who's obsessed with hair.
Well, not even
I
that.
realized you did that.
I'll just say that they started slowly expanding out to groups of people called killers, killing goods, the queen of hair, and all these people are so fucked up in the head. I'm like, ooh, this could be good if they all go crazy.
Okay.
Like I look at it in terms of like the psychotic part. I'm hoping it goes the same path of Mirai Nikki. I'm hoping it goes down that path of Future Diary because it could be really good. Because I'm a fucked up person. I really like when people go crazy and lose their shit. Yeah, Schadenfreude is big with me. So there's other things I've been watching. I'll keep that for Anna Break. So on Wednesday.
You are a very sick little man, my friend.
Thank you.
My best friend, the sicko. Yes.
Which is why we're such good friends, because you're the exact same way.
I declined to. What? Yeah, okay. My counselor advises me that I need to plead the fifth.
Now, is this counselor in the same room with you right now? Well, where is it in your head? Are you hearing it in your head, or are they actually behind you, or?
Nothing talking to yourself as long as you don't lose the argument.
Okay, well played. Isaac, sounds like a sitcom. Coming next week. No.
Ryoko, she talks to me.
All right, shall we wrap this up?
Yes, we should.
All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Stay tuned for post show. Been a lot of fun. As a reminder,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
As a reminder, this Friday, the 12th at 9:30 p.m. at Anime Kanji in San Diego, I will be hosting a From My Mother's Basement live panel. It'll be an hour of, oh my god, I have no idea what to expect.
And you guys are supposed to send in questions that
Yes.
you want me to answer, so that Jason and I can do a video and I can answer your questions in the show.
Yes.
So where do they need to send that, Jason?
Well, send tweets to these spots, OtakuLife Jason or Digital Panther.
Send them to Jason. He checks his Twitter way more than I do.
Okay, send it to me, Facebook or Twitter, OtakuLife Jason. Just your questions about anything. Could be random. Could be what's your favorite anime to what's your favorite taco. Whatever. We'll pick some of the best ones. Michael, unfortunately, cannot make it there due to he has family coming in from out of town. Mm-hmm. So we'll have him record a few things. I will play that during the panel, and I will be recording it, and that will be what we show next Sunday.
And you are allowed to ask silly, bizarro questions, though. If you ask too many personal things, I'm not going to comment. Anyway,
Michael, how many skeletons do you have in the closet?
How many graveyards do you want to fill? Dude, I used to work Rocky. I used to be part of a Rocky Horror cast. Hello.
That's true. You playing Frankenfurter is... Yeah.
Hello.
All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Also, wait a minute. There's one other thing.
Go for it.
Random acts will be randomly showing. So check those pages. He's going to put links on the site. Mm-hmm. Also, next Sunday, because of said family being in town, I will not be here. We don't know yet if it's going to be a Jason solo show or if somebody's going to guess. Maybe
that's what I just said, is that I'm going to be recording the panel at Anime Kanji.
Oh, that's what you're going to show.
And then I'm going to show that.
My bad.
Yeah, so.
My bad.
So that's why we're going to have you record something, so you'll be part of the show anyway, so.
Yay! I got mail!
And given the fact it's 9:30 at night, there really isn't much going on at the same time.
So I should expect you not to be in the raid either Friday.
Probably not, no. But given it's at that time frame, I may have water with me, maybe. Yes. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to expect from this panel, but it'll be crazy as hell, so.
It should be fun.
Yeah.
And if you really decide to do the Skype thing, if they give you the bandwidth, we'll consider it.
True. Kathy, he's going to wet everyone. What's the Russian word for water? We'll leave it at that.
Vodka.
All right.
Russell.
All right, guys. For From Our Mother's Basement, I'm Jason.
And I am Michael.
And we'll see you guys next week. Take it easy, everybody.